everybody. Unit 7, do your homework. Right. Today we're going to do listening to. So if you can open your textbook and let's go to page 165. 165. Tiger Mom. Amy Chua is the author of a book about parenting in which she writes about the strict way she raised her children. Her approach angered many parents, but other parents agreed with her. You will hear an interview with Amy Chua. Work with a partner or by yourself in this case. Read the words and phrases in the box aloud and check any meanings you don't know in the dictionary or just Google it. Then complete the book summary with the correct word or phrase. We've got controversy, in a nutshell, measure up to someone's expectations, mindset, and privilege. Okay, we've got here numbers 1 until 5. Can you complete the summary? I'm going to give you some time to do that. This is how you can figure out the meaning of the words looking at the context. Go ahead, answer the fill in the blanks, complete the summary. Very good. That brings us to the comprehension of the audio. I want you to listen to the interview and answer the questions. Okay, we've got questions 1, 2, 3, and 4. For 1, the interviewer reads an excerpt that describes activities that Amy Chua did not permit her daughters to do. So you got to check the things that her daughters were not allowed to do. For number 2, you have to check all the reasons Miss Chua gives for this change. Then for number 3, you check all the values that she mentions. And for number 4, you will circle the correct words to complete this conclusion. Okay? Great. Maybe you'd want to annotate the sentences and the answer choices so you can, it's easier for you to listen and answer at the same time. Ready? Let's go.
Next guest's article is raising a little bit of controversy. When it comes to raising successful kids, Chinese mothers have it right. Amy Chua is raising her children the way that she was raised, with a few hiccups along the way, but in a strict Chinese household. And she's written about her somewhat extreme parenting methods in her new book. Here's an excerpt. Here are some things that my daughters, Sophia and Louisa, were never allowed to do: attend a sleepover, have a play date, watch TV or play computer games, choose their own extracurricular activities, get any grade less than an A, and play any instrument other than the piano or violin. The book is people talking, certainly is generating a lot of controversy. It's called Battle Hymn of the Tiger Mother, and author Amy Chua joins us now. I had to laugh, Amy, because some of this resonated. My dad is from Nepal, and the Asian culture, I mean, when you're a child or a product of the Asian culture, and this is general, but there is a greater emphasis on listening to your parents and to studying, right? And also to just measure their expectations of you, not what you want. But let's talk first of all about some of those ideas. And of course, some people take issue with the fact that it said Chinese, but you're writing about what you know, because that's
right. It's just my story, and I actually say early on in the book that I'm using this term loosely. I'm not speaking for all Chinese parents, and in fact, it's more of an immigrant thing. You were just saying, I know a lot of Ghanaian, Jamaican, Korean, Indian parents with similar responsibility, be self-reliant. I mean, the way I was taught, because I think of those as really fundamental American values.
Very good. Okay, that actually brings us to the next page. Yeah, so the audio also already mentioned this and mentioned this. I'm going to give you a little bit of time to check your answers. Go ahead. That brings us to the listening skill, which is listening for clarification. In conversation, speakers often clarify, make something clear what they just said using signal phrases such as that is, or you know, or in other words, in fact, I mean, and so on. Here the topic is controversial, means it stirs up a lot of ideas and even emotions and different thoughts. Opinions. Amy Chua feels that her book has been misunderstood, so she's especially eager to clarify her position. Let's listen to this.
My dad is from Nepal, and the Asian culture, I mean, when you're a child or a product of the Asian culture, and this is general, but there is a greater emphasis on listening to your parents and to studying, right? And also to just measuring to their expectations of you, not what you want.
Yeah, so number one, we can see here, Kiran Chaudhary is clarifying the phrase in the Asian culture. What does it really mean here? Her father is from Nepal. And what signal phrase did you hear? I mean. So that does mean that we can see that from the words and the phrases that we're hearing, the person is clarifying, trying to make sure that the listener really understands what they're trying to say. You're going to listen to the excerpts. There's only two, and answer the questions. So if you can please annotate each question on the keywords, and then we're going to listen.
And I actually say early on in the book that I'm using this term loosely. I'm not speaking for all Chinese parents, and in fact, it's more of an immigrant thing. You were just saying, I know a lot of Canadian, Jamaican, Korean, Indian parents with similar mindsets.
Ms. Chua wants to clarify what she means by saying she's not speaking for all Chinese parents. So what does she really mean? And what signal phrase did you hear? Now we go to excerpt 2.
I find it interesting that these are called Chinese values, hard work and don't give up and don't make excuses, take responsibility, be self-reliant.
Okay. What does Ms. Chua want to clarify about Chinese values, and what signal phrase did you hear? Please write that down. That's how we, as we're listening to words and phrases used by a speaker, we can hear that they're clarifying what they try to say, just to make sure that there is no misunderstanding. That brings us to the part of connecting the listening. We're going to go to step 1, organizing. How did the interviewees and the listenings wanted to motivate their children? We're going to complete the chart with notes. So the first question, what methods did you use to motivate your children to do the schoolwork? Listening 1 was Gary Allen Dow, and listening 2, Amy Chua. And then how successful were your methods? You have to look at both listening sections. And did you have any doubts about your methods? Also there, you will write down what you found about both methods. Very good. Okay, I'm going to give you a little bit of time to do that. Go ahead. Okay, that brings us to the part of synthesizing. What you did just now in organizing, you had to look at the information from both audios. If you forgot, you can obviously listen to the audio we listened to just now again. And for audio 1, you can go back to the video of listening 1. Yeah, unit 7, listening 1, to listen to the audio again. Step 2, synthesize. Right. Basically, what we do when we synthesize is we're connecting the dots, the facts together in order to create something new. In this case, we're supposed to create a role-playing in an interview and discussion with Ms. Dow and Ms. Chua, in which the interviewer asks the questions in the chart, and Ms. Daud and Ms. Chua answer with information from the chart. Each person can then ask follow-up questions, which Ms. Daud and Ms. Chua answer based on information from the listenings. Which could work out as this. Both of you are concerned about your children's schoolwork. What methods did you use to motivate them? Well, I tried bribery. Here's what I did first. I offered my son yada, 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 yada. Don't you think your son should do his homework just because it's his responsibility? Well, schoolwork isn't very exciting. So, yeah. Now, we can try this out in class once we meet. So, can you please think about these ideas? Make sure that the chart you have here is already completed. So, we can try to do the discussion in class. Follow-up questions are important because follow-up questions ask for clarification, further the argument, make it more, develop the argument, and make a discussion or debate flow well. Right. Okay, that brings us to the end of our lesson today. So good. What is it we did today? Let's make a recap. In a nutshell, the first thing we did was look at the vocabulary. We looked at the words in context. Yeah, you had to complete a summary, and then we went to the comprehension, understanding the audio, and you had to check correct answers and circle. And for that, you had to take notes, listening skill, listening for clarification, where you listened to people trying to further explain what they mean to make sure that their ideas are well understood, and using words as that is, you know, in other words, in fact, I mean, and so on. And at the end, we connected listening 1 with listening 2, both audios, seeing how the ideas are connected, and from there, have a discussion. So good. You are amazing. Thank you so much for watching today. I will see you very soon. God bless you. Bye.